Hello and Happy New Year to all Kid vs. Kat fans watching and listening. Welcome to Talking Kid vs. Kat Episode 9. I'm your host, Mr. Demon Cat, and this is a podcast about all things Kid vs. Kat animated series related. Today we're going to start ranking Kid vs. Kat characters on Tier Maker. The last time I ranked something Kid vs. Kat related was back in April 2025 about my Kid vs. Kat ships. Fast forward to January 2026, it's a new year, new episode that I'm making. I have most Kid vs. Kat characters on the bottom of my screen, ready for me to rank them, and it's based on the list of 3 things. Number 1, character interactions. Number 2, fan popularity. And number 3, the possibilities and strengths they have. Let's start off with Kid vs. Kat's first main character, Coop Burtenberger. Coop has brown hair on top of his head, his red and white striped shirt on, his blue pants on, and his brown shoes on. For those of you who don't know who voiced Coop from Kid vs. Kat, Coop is voiced by Aaron Matthews, and this is what his voice sounds like.
Coop! What is it
Millie's dad is out to get me! Look! It drew plans and everything! I'm doomed!
Oh, so Coop does sound like a child or young boy, huh? Okay, I guess. On the Coop Kid vs. Kat wiki page, I noticed Ian James Corlett also voiced Coop from Kid vs. Kat, but only in the pilot episode. His possible middle name might be either David or Davies. Coop is also a boy from the town of Bootsville and the main protagonist of the series. Coop not only lives with his father Burt, but he also lives with his young sister Millie. And what I saw Coop doing on a normal day is attempting to save the Earth and other planets that Mr. Cat made fun of. And he also attempted to stop Kat from turning good things into bad things. Coop also has his best friend Dennis Chan, who also lives together in person. He even has his girlfriend named Fiona, in which I saw Coop having 2 of his best friends being close to each other. After saving the world, Coop might also be a good boy when he behaves with his dad and his sister. Coop sometimes is also a bad boy when he misbehaves with the same persons being close to him. Unless he improves his behavior, he'll start doing good. Coop also has his worst neighbor being close to him. Her name is Old Lady Munson. As Coop gets out of the house to be with Dennis, he starts going to school with him. I even saw him do so well and helping Miss Brannigan solve problems in class. If I visit someone else's post on YouTube mentioning Coop from Kid vs. Kat, this makes me feel surprised. I saw somebody saying, Coop is better than Millie. Coop deserves to be better. Alright, what am I gonna put Coop Burtenberger from Kid vs. Kat? I'm putting Coop in the best tier list. Next up is Kid vs. Kat's second main character, Mr. Cat. Mr. Cat might also be known as Agent 27B, but he's the titular main antagonist of Season 1 and central antagonist of Season 2. Mr. Cat is also an alien of a planet called Catnipia, home of an entire race of sapient felines. He's named Mr. Cat when adopted by Millie in the Let the Games Begin episode. Not only that, but Mr. Cat is also an enemy when he tries to turn things around in Bootsville. Mr. Cat is also mean to Coop in most Kid vs. Kat episodes I watched. Mr. Cat might even be a Sphinx alien cat from planet Cat Nebula. He was sent to Earth to take over the planet for his kind ever since I began watching the show. His mission is to get a lot of fishy frisky bits from the grocery store and bring all of them to Coop's house and hide them somewhere without getting caught by someone. It would have been possible for Mr. Cat to successfully succeed, and also preparing for an invasion coming to Bootsville, as seen in some Kid vs. Kat episodes I watched. Mr. Cat's adoption happened when Millie asked her father Burt if they could keep the cat or an alien. Burt also looked at what Cat has. This time it's a collar that is close to Mr. Cat's head. Mr. Cat was also being sent back to other planets where very few people live, like Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, etc. Cat's physical appearance could look like that of a somewhat small hairless Sphinx cat, and also becoming evil when he laughs. Mr. Cat also has sharp teeth, claws that cut practically anything, shoot lasers, open locks, produce fire and heat that is great enough to melt metals, and he even has a vacuum mouth acid spit. Plus, he is also able to turn front paws into buzzsaws, and even melt himself to form a portal-like substance for fitting through tight spaces. Mr. Cat can even stretch out his skin and glide through the air, just like a flying squirrel. His body is extremely durable, and he is also able to survive a lot of things that adults do. Mr. Cat from Kid vs. Cat also enjoys dancing when he listens to music. I even saw Mr. Cat being injured after losing a lot of energy and power. Mr. Cat from Kid vs. Cat reminds me of Invader Zim. So, where am I going to put Mr. Cat from Kid vs. Cat? I'm putting Cat in the OK2 list. Next, I'm going to do Millie Burnberger. Millie is the secondary antagonist of Kid vs. Cat. She's the daughter of Burt and also Coop's younger sister. She also became Cat's owner and is now the direct cause of the events of the show. Millie is voiced by Kathleen Barr, and most Kid vs. Cat fans heard what Millie's voice sounds like. Millie's voice sounds like a young girl, huh? She appears to love and defend Cat when they're close to each other, no matter what they do. She also loves to play dress-up and tea with Cat in her room. Millie also annoys Coop, in which I do not like seeing Millie do in Kid vs. Cat. However, Millie seems to appreciate when Coop hangs out with her, ready or forced. In the Kid vs. Cat episode Amazing Feat of Strength, when her dad gives her crayons, she protests these say for ages 2 to 5. Millie says, "I'm older than that. I love having fun with Cat in my room." Millie could possibly be aged 6 to 8. Even more things about Millie that I'm now adding. Millie also has her glasses on when she's not blind. I also began seeing Millie losing her glasses in another episode that I watched, Tickled Pink. OMG, imagine Millie from Kid vs. Cat also becoming a blind girl in some episodes I watched. For example, Millie began telling Coop lies, and she thinks that Coop took her glasses? Nah, it's me seeing Cat taking Millie's glasses. I mostly see Millie wearing mostly green clothes on, a flower on her shirt, and also her pink socks on, and her black shoes on. I also saw somebody else on YouTube saying, "Coop deserves better than Millie. Coop is better than Millie." I don't know what else to say about Millie, but where am I going to put Millie from Kid vs. Cat? Somebody also thinks that Millie is annoying, even though Kid vs. Cat is my #1 favorite community animated show. I'm putting Millie in the bad tier list. I'd rather see Coop being with Dennis together than Millie. Let's move on to the 4th Kid vs. Cat character I've seen the most. This time, I'm also doing Burt. This is Burt, Coop's dad. He has his glasses on, the same hair color as Coop on top of his head, his white t-shirt behind his light blue shirt that he's also wearing, and also his brown pants on. He's also Millie's dad, too. He first appeared in the Kid vs. Cat episode Let the Games Begin, where he hangs out with his kids playing baseball outside. Coop's dad adopted his son Coop when Coop was a baby. What's good for Coop's dad is that he was nice to Coop and Millie. He calls Coop a sport, a young man, and brother. He sometimes gives Coop a reward, like paper cash, a birthday gift, or other items that Coop wanted. He even sits next to the kids inside the house after he finishes making Coop and Millie some cereal, milk, and other breakfast. What's bad for Coop's dad is that he sometimes blames Coop and Millie for all the wrongdoings I saw in Kid vs. Cat. Burt might also be a good and bad dad at the same time in the show. I even saw him ground his son Coop in some episodes I watched. However, he does appreciate when Coop and Millie help their dad do some chores in Bootsville. But what else is Burt doing in Kid vs. Cat? I even saw him go to the House of Swap, next to the barber shop, the sports store, etc. Basically what Burt does is work on things to be priced there. For example, a Tiesto Club Life Miami CD could be priced at $26 at the House of Swap in Bootsville. Coop's dad also checks on his son Coop by calling him using the old telephone line next to the old CD, AM, FM, and HD radio combo receiver. Burt also does not like it when Lady Munson is angry at him. Coop's dad Burt from Kid vs. Cat reminds me of the George Michael song Killer's Whisper. So, why am I gonna put Coop's dad Burt? I'm putting him in the good tier list. For those of you who don't like Coop's dad from Kid vs. Kat, I'm fine with your opinion. Why don't we go to Dennis Chan? This is Dennis, Coop's greatest friend. He has most of his yellow dress on, and also his black hair on top of his head. Dennis looks like a young Asian boy, and his face might be Asian Canadian. He's voiced by Kathleen Weasley. He loves being with Coop in Bootsville. What's good for Dennis is that he spends more time being with him in person, and also helping him save Bootsville. Dennis is sometimes also good friends with Fiona, but only in the second season of the show, and I'm thinking of drawing Dennis and Fiona being together in person on my laptop. As Dennis resumes having fun in Bootsville, he also sees cool things that other people made. For example, Dennis invented the most sold retro gaming console, the PlayStation 2. It wasn't seen in Kid vs. Kat, but he found a way to get more physical media at the House of Swap. Dennis also likes playing video games with Coop, but a different retro gaming console was used by them and did not have an internet connection. Honestly, I also like how Dennis is doing amazing with his grades at school by completing his science project, right as I also saw him make his own rocket launcher, the one where it lands on the grass next to the female professor. Dennis also has his dad named Henry, but he does not get along well with him. He instead likes being with Coop's dad. Speaking of Henry, I also have him ready to rank later in this episode. So, what am I going to put Dennis? I'm putting Dennis in the best tier list. Next, I'm going to do Fiona Munson. I also have the 7th Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast episode about her. Fiona might also be a good and bad girl at the same time. She likes playing soccer with Coop and Dennis outside. A little more things I forgot to add about Fiona from Kid vs. Kat, but that's okay, I'll do it now. At the end of the Kid vs. Kat episode, Cat of Diamonds, I also saw Fiona seeing Old Lady Munson try to go outside, but the dog brings Old Lady Munson back home inside by using his mouth and his sharp teeth to move her. The door closes, and Fiona resumes taking a walk with Coop. Coop and Fiona also made the big ring go up high in the sky and taking a 90-degree turn before putting other rings in the garbage place outside. Fiona also went to the jewelry store to return stolen jewelry that somebody else took without paying using their debit card or cash. She also returned stolen jewelry even more back to the House of Swap too. I also noticed Fiona got into a fight with Coop in the Cat of Diamonds episode, which is not a good thing to do. But Fiona does appreciate when she still hangs out with Coop in Bootsville. So, what am I going to put Fiona from Kid vs. Kat? I'm putting Fiona in the good tier list. Oh my gosh, here comes the most hated Kid vs. Kat character I've seen the most. Drum roll, please. Old Lady Munson! Old Lady Munson is Coop's worst aunt and also Coop's worst neighbor. This might be the #1 most hated Kid vs. Kat character I've seen, and Kid vs. Kat fans weren't happy about her. What I saw Old Lady Munson doing the most is being angry at Coop and his father in Bootsville. The second thing I saw her doing the most is taking care of the grass, some big metal things that might break, taking care of people's items in the garage or in the farmhouse, next to her dog in the neighborhood. Old Lady Munson also does not like it when Coop did all of his wrongdoings. For example, Old Lady Munson saw the flying airplane go up, but Mr. Cat controlled it, causing Old Lady Munson to take it away and put it in her farmhouse. She also has the gnomes taking control of the red lasers, causing her to wake up in the night around midnight or something, and also causing a red emergency alert to happen. For those who do not know who voiced Old Lady Munson, she's voiced by Linda Sorensen, and this is what her voice sounds like.
Your juvenile delinquent son stole all of my confiscated toys and kidnapped Tom Tunnels!
Oh, so she does sound like an old woman or granny, huh? Okay. I even saw her become a baseball umpire, the one where Old Lady Munson learned how to count balls and strikes in the Kid vs. Kat episode Storm Drained. My only good thing about Old Lady Munson is that she likes seeing Coop win a baseball game with Dennis and his other friends as an umpire. Old Lady Munson from Kid vs. Kat reminds me of Mrs. Doubtfire, the 1990s movie made. I'm putting Old Lady Munson in the worst tier list since I keep seeing her being terrible. Next, I'm going to do Henry from Kid vs. Kat. Henry is Dennis's father. He might also be either Burt's good friend or bad friend. I even have the 8 Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast episode about Henry too. What's bad for Henry is that he sometimes abandons Dennis Chan by being with someone else and going somewhere else in Bootsville without his son. Even more things I forgot to add about Henry from Kid vs. Kat. In the Kid vs. Kat episode Who's Haunting Who, Henry called Coop's father using the telephone. Both Henry and Coop's father resumed being with each other on the phone for a little bit, but they have not yet seen each other in person. Guess what? That was Henry's last ever appearance in Kid vs. Kat in the Who's Haunting Who episode. Something else I also saw Henry do in the show so far is Henry bringing a cheeseburger inside the house, then later putting it in the kitchen, the one where Dennis was there. Henry also has a hot sauce bottle in which he puts it on a tomato or on a yellow cheese or lettuce. He let Dennis borrow it for a little bit and allowed his son to put hot sauce into a milk bottle. It's probably Dennis taking the hot sauce bottle away from Henry. Oh my goodness gracious, and I'm also seeing Henry's face turn red. A few minutes later, did Henry do something to Coop's dad yet again? Take a listen to what Henry said.
Now you owe me a favor. Plus, new carpet, hardwood floor, dinette set, and a brand new recliner with all the trimmings.
Henry accused Coop's father of stealing his hot sauce bottle? What? Are you serious? That hot sauce bottle is for adults only. Like, why do I keep seeing Henry from Kid vs. Kat being angry at Burt? Maybe it's because of my Burt and Henry ship I ranked last year. Oh my. Henry from Kid vs. Kat not only reminds me of Woozy from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, but he also reminds me of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the Dodgers' Japanese pitcher. I almost forgot that Henry probably has a little more appearances than Fiona in Kid vs. Kat. I'm putting Henry in the OK2 list. Next, I'm going to rank Coop's elementary school teachers. This time, I'm doing Mr. Grover. Mr. Grover is Coop's male elementary school teacher. He teaches Coop, Dennis, plus Lorne and Harley how to do amazing at making their own science experiments. For example, Mr. Grover saw Coop bring in the most powerful machine that makes electricity bills go up. Mr. Grover from Kid vs. Kat reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Think about it this way, my small Sangean HD radio receiver I purchased on Amazon, it uses less electricity than Mr. Kat's big machines. Mr. Grover sometimes gives Coop a bad grade, but he also appreciates when the kids being in his class improve their grades. Basically what Mr. Grover did, he also reminds all of his students in Bootsville to complete their schoolwork before 8 a.m. He did just that, by having Coop change grades from F- to A+. The same goes to Dennis' science project, along with Lorne and Harley's. So, what am I going to put Mr. Grover? I'm putting Mr. Grover in the best tier list. Here comes Coop's female school teacher, Miss Brannigan. She also has the exact same students that Mr. Grover had earlier in the show. What causes Miss Brannigan to feel excited is Coop solving problems on the chalkboard correctly on his best day ever. This might be the second thing I've seen Miss Brannigan do with Coop. What's bad for Miss Brannigan is that she saw all the pranks that the students did. For example, Miss Brannigan allowed the students to get out of school early without warning. What Miss Brannigan also did when not in school is her going to the grocery store. Miss Brannigan sometimes makes someone else sell for her in school. As Coop and Dennis become adults later in the future, Miss Brannigan no longer meets them again in elementary school. So, where am I going to put Miss Brannigan? I'm putting her in the good tier list. Okay, what about Coop's other worst friends I've seen? I haven't mentioned them in a while. Why don't we do Phoebe next? Phoebe is a Chilean-Canadian girl I've seen less often than Millie in Kid vs. Kat. She's also a supporting protagonist who appears to have a crush on Coop. But Coop does not like it when Phoebe gets close to him, or should I say Phoebe meets him in person? Phoebe sometimes also enjoys being with Coop by surprising him with something they've never done before. Like, why is Phoebe not respecting Coop, his personal space, his feelings, and his other things? I know Coop is not going to like Phoebe over and over again, but Phoebe thinks that he's her hero. I also heard Phoebe call Coop a hero twice earlier in the show. Phoebe might also be a Mexican-Canadian girl living in Bootsville, not knowing when she'll become confident about Coop. This also made me think that Phoebe is Coop's worst girlfriend, huh? Basically what Phoebe does in her room when not with Coop is that Phoebe also loves singing songs, playing with her unicorn plushie, and also being in her princess bed. Those are fun things for Phoebe to do, huh? So, what am I gonna put Phoebe from Kid vs. Kat? I'm putting her in the bad tier list. I might have my Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast episode about Phoebe later. If not, that's okay. Why don't we go to Lorne and Harley next? I also have the 6th Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast episode about them, but my voice did not get featured there. Lorne and Harley are videographers of Kid vs. Kat. They like to capture people on camera using their video recording feature. However, there are some consequences Lorne and Harley faced. They partially did not have permission to record what the children were doing. If I saw Lorne and Harley twice, my guess would be them being prohibited from having their camera get good eyes on people. You see, Lorne and Harley would have been in trouble if they resumed doing pranks. There's not really a lot of pranks I saw them do in the show. A lot of more things I forgot to add about Lorne and Harley, and what I also saw them do with Coop, Burt, and Murga. They got to the top of the building and saw how many people wanted to chase Coop. The birds did not get to Lorne and Harley's ears, however. They didn't even turn evil. Right as I also saw other Kid vs. Kat characters turn evil and their eyes changing to yellow and red, this happened. Lorne and Harley also resumed helping Coop turn humans back to normal by making the guitar, the drums, and other instruments make small things get out of the humans' ears. Alright, enough said about Lorne and Harley. I'm putting them in the OK2 list. Next up is the first Kid vs. Kat character that has less appearances than Fiona. This time, I also began seeing Buck Diamond. This is Mr. Diamond. He's a false animal protection officer and one-time character who appeared being an adult to never have more appearances than Fiona Munson. His one and only appearance in Kid vs. Kat is Bootsville's Most Wanted. Mr. Diamond tried to lock up Coop and Dennis because of a malicious trick that Kat played, but he did not take them away yet. What I also saw Mr. Diamond do is also pretend to be a fake sheriff officer. He gets a call from old Lady Munson about the fight. Mr. Diamond also got into the car very quickly as he began speeding using the car's wheels. Mr. Diamond also tried chasing people, but failed to take them to jail, however. He also became in danger of getting a ticket from the police because of how fast he went and how bad he is. Buck Diamond from Kid vs. Kat reminds me of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, another 1990s movie made by Warner Brothers. He also reminds me of Frank Tenpenny from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas 2. At the end of the Kid vs. Kat episode Bootsville's Most Wanted, Mr. Diamond finally got taken away by the police. I'm putting Mr. Diamond in a bad tier list since I keep seeing him commit crimes. And last but not least, I don't know what other characters to rank, but here comes another Kid vs. Kat character having less appearances than Fiona. Kyle Dustin! This is Kyle, Fiona's secondary boyfriend. His one and only appearance in Kid vs. Kat is Boyd Cat. He's seen in a skate contest, not knowing how well he'll do. Kyle seems like a popular and rich guy. His helmet is blue, and the thunder on the helmet is orange. Kyle also has a green skateboard. His voice was almost heard right as I saw Fiona go to someone else. Kyle might have a crush on Fiona, and what I saw him do in Kid vs. Kat is learning how to improve skills by having the wheels touch the metal stairs, and also do some kind of a Tony Hawk type style thing I saw earlier. Kyle Dustin from Kid vs. Kat reminds me of Tony Hawk. the American Skateboard Hall of Famer. I'm putting Carl Dustin in the best tier list. If there are other Kid vs. Cat characters I missed, please let me know in the comments below. And that'll do it. If you enjoyed it, you can also follow my Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. We thank you for enjoying episode 9 of my Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast. This is Mr. Demon Cat. I'll see you in episode 10. Goodbye.